Hi everyone, welcome to channel that shares knowledge about comprehensive personal development through good books. On October 6, 82-year-old French writer Annie Ernaux was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature 2022 for her courage and clinical acumen in exploring the sources of alienation and limitations in human memory. Her masterpiece, The Years, was also widely received by the public and has had a profound influence on millions of readers. This is a very unique autobiography. Annie Ernaux tells the story of her life without the personal pronoun I, but instead with we or she. She borrows collective and personal memories combined with a sociological perspective to tell the most realistic and vivid story about a woman's growth from childhood to old age, over the course of 60 years. In the ever-changing flow of life, those years are like an album of old photos that every time we look at them, we have a new experience. We can clearly see the mistakes, disappointments, and sufferings at different stages in life. At this time, every decision can change the destiny of a person's life. Some people choose right, some people still make mistakes, some people move forward, and there are people who are forever stuck in the past. Reading this book, you will be able to follow the author through the journey of life where there will be both sharp thorns and fragrant flowers, so you can understand how you should ultimately live. Decide what to choose in each stage of life. Now, let's listen to a sharing from Better Version called 3 Decisions That Change a Life through the autobiography The Years by author Annie Ernaux. When young, always have the words help you upstream. Annie was born in a small town in Normandy, France. Her life was poor since childhood. The place she lived in was full of low, rickety houses with dilapidated furniture. Because of the harsh living environment, children there constantly starved and died of infectious diseases every year. Her father worked on a farm and then became a factory worker, and her mother dropped out of school early to get married and sell small goods, but financial constraints and physical hardships may have eroded the love and warmth that parents had for their children. In Annie's memories, her father was addicted to alcohol and was very rude in the way he spoke and behaved. Her mother was extremely strict. People living at the bottom of society could not change their current situation, so they placed all their hopes for a better future for her children. In the years she grew up, society was very conservative. For a girl, no matter how beautiful, educated, and intelligent she was, it was not as good as keeping her virginity. Under that value system, her mother became the strictest supervisor for her children. Until marriage, the daughter was not allowed to watch movies or read anything related to love, was not allowed to wear short skirts and colorful clothes. As a teenager, Annie never went out alone, nor attended any parties to meet outsiders. The young Annie became more and more curious about the feeling of being loved. She secretly watched movies and romance novels, and tried to date a guy. But Annie was worried that the excuses she made every time she went out would sooner or later be exposed, so she had no choice but to quickly end the relationship. Until she reached the evening of her 18th birthday, Annie had the opportunity to study and work part-time at a summer camp. She felt that she was finally free. Now, she was at a missionary school. Annie had a tall figure, dressed simply. On the outside, she was a well-behaved, diligent, and studious girl, but in fact she had many desires inside. She was often jealous of her classmates who came from rich families and wanted to dress fashionably like them to receive attention and love. Then, one day at a dance party, for the first time in her life, Annie deliberately took off her thick glasses and let her hair down to look more beautiful. A person named H, the group leader, the first guy who asked Annie to dance, took advantage of the few seconds when the lights in the room went out to steal a kiss from her. He had actually noticed this tall, attractive blonde guy. Unexpectedly, he took the initiative with her. This was a completely new experience for Annie. She thought she was about to have a wonderful love affair. However, in reality, H was a master of love and he only intended to play with her. On the second day, Annie discovered that he was with another beautiful girl, and so desperate, Annie ran out of the room. But unfortunately, her friends in the same camp witnessed this scene and immediately surrounded her, shouting and teasing her failure. Trey. They poured buckets of water on Annie. The joking screams grew louder. Through her wet hair, she saw H and immediately ran away from the crowd shouting H's name for help, and rushed into his arms, but H just smiled without saying anything and turned around to go back to the room. Annie was deeply hurt and disappointed in love. From then on, she lost herself and started to join wild parties to go dancing, joking, and living rebelliously. She also started to get bored of studying and working part-time, so the summer camp also rejected her job application. But, more heartbreaking than the indulgence that made her a young girl who had to taste the bitter fruit early, was that she found out she was pregnant unexpectedly. Next, what would her life be like? How would she face her parents and the conservative society at that time? Just imagining it makes people suffocate and heartbroken. The feeling of fear and loneliness surrounded this 18-year-old girl. She didn't know what to do. But in the midst of despair, the light at the end of the tunnel was faint. Suddenly, Annie read a book called The Second Sex. From this book, Annie suddenly woke up. She realized the relationship between her and H was not equal at all. There was no love. He just considered her a tool to kill loneliness, a victim who could be abandoned at will. Annie wanted to become an independent and self-sufficient person. She had to escape this ignorant life. She also realized that only studying hard was the only way for her to redeem herself. So, Annie mustered up the courage to secretly have an abortion to get her simple clothes back, and immersed herself in books. Finally, thanks to hard work, she passed the university entrance exam. After entering university, she felt happier than ever. She read a lot of books, researched literature, practiced writing, paid attention to social issues, participated in various activities and won the highest honors. After graduating, Annie became a teacher. She now had a decent job, could be independent in a big city, and had completely escaped the nightmare of the slums before. Thanks to her efforts in studying, she stepped out of her life at the bottom of society. Thanks to reading a lot of books, she opened up a new world for herself and found her own path. When you are young, choosing to go to school seems simple to many people, but it can affect the direction of your whole life. Annie's journey when she was young is just like ours. In the book, it once again proves to us that education is not only a way out of poverty, but also the most powerful tool that enables a person to rely on his or her own strength to forge their own future. Many people say that studying is not the only way out and is not the best way to get rich and succeed, but in reality, for many ordinary people, especially for children living in difficult conditions, going to school and reading a lot of books is the fastest shortcut to change their fate. This is not an empty theoretical statement, but a statement with great weight. And perhaps we have to go to the end of our lives to feel the weight of that. I myself am also a person who, now every day from the bottom of my heart, is extremely grateful to my mother. Even though my family's economic situation was difficult, even though she had to shoulder the burden of raising my child alone for 20 years, my mother still tried her best to let me go to school, and that opportunity helped me go to school and become friends with books. And these books have completely changed my fortunes. They have helped me broaden my vision, allowing me to look up at the stars even when I am stuck in sadness. They help me shake off negative thoughts, overcome my mind's tendency for both extremes of suffering and happiness, and accept what is imperfect and embrace it all to know how great the power of love is. As a writer said, books are the most patient and pleasant companions. They will never leave you. There are many difficult thresholds in life. Thanks to books, we can easily overcome them. Books nourish and enrich the inner self of anyone, helping us accumulate changes little by little to become a better version of ourselves. Yesterday, where our footsteps cannot be measured, then the lines in the book will make it possible. If it wasn't for reading books and constantly enriching your inner self, no matter how many thousands of miles you travel to every corner, you are just like a postman. Each book is like a door, where you go is up to you. A cousin in the countryside once texted me asking what she should choose now. My father said that girls shouldn't study too much, just finish high school and then work part-time to help the family, then get married. I asked her, "So what do you think?" She said, "I don't know. My dad only gives me money to study for the exam this year. I really want to, but in the past 3 years, I've lost a lot of knowledge. I'm afraid, if I take the exam, I will also fail, then my family will criticize and scold me." I told her not to be afraid. If she doesn't pass this year, she can take the exam again next year. I will support her with the money to study and review. Because looking back at my last days in high school, a sudden twist of fate made me unable to take the university entrance exam. At that time, a year later when I recovered, The official exam time was less than a month away. No one believed that I could pass the exam. Even my family members said that it was better to prepare to work as a factory worker. Only my mother, from the beginning to the end, has always supported me. And in the end, with all my efforts, I also succeeded in reviewing all the knowledge at the end of high school, doing practice tests within 1 month, and getting admitted to the desired major. So, in the case of my cousin, I believe that as long as she is determined enough and has supporters, she will definitely succeed. Even if she does not pass the exam in the desired field, the process of practicing perseverance will also be very helpful for her future life. But, in the end, she still gave up. The saying that our destiny lies in our own hands is not wrong. More precisely, destiny has many turns in life. A right decision will lead you to a life experience with a higher energy level. But there are crossroads where just one wrong step can lead to 1,000 wrong steps in life. In life decisions like this, going to school and reading books is the best way to help you swim against the current out there. There are countless people who long to go to school, long to be immersed in the pages of books, but they cannot do so. So, if you have the opportunity to learn to read, do not complain about the difficulties it brings. Even if you have ever encountered circumstances that did not allow you to go to school when you were young, do not be sad, because you can still improve yourself every day through reading books and improving your qualifications. If you have the conditions in the future, you can also take university courses for the elderly. This is not something strange. Because when I studied abroad, I had many classmates who were elderly. Even at the age of 50 or 60, it is not only completely normal, but people also admire such special classmates. Along with that, be patient and passionate about reading. Believe that as long as you maintain this habit, it will bring many unexpected benefits. These books will one day touch your heart and mind, change your life completely. They will help you live calmly and strongly to face all challenges, give you insights that open your mind more, help you develop skills, and easily find true joy in life. Passing the age of 20, decide to stop at the right time to be able to go further. Annie had eaten the forbidden fruit in high school, so at the age of 25, she was especially cautious in love and marriage. However, young people at that time generally had to actively get married early and have children. Because if a person is single for too long, they will be gossiped about or even boycotted by others. To integrate and have something to talk about with her friends, Annie also followed the crowd, put aside her career and got married as soon as possible. Within a few years, she married a man who was not suitable for her and gave birth to 2 sons in succession. She came from a family of intellectuals, working in a government agency. After getting married, her husband's family provided her with comfortable material conditions. They moved to live in a large house with full amenities, but married life made Annie feel guilty every day. Going to work, doing housework, and taking care of children. After giving birth to her second child, she gave up her spiritual life, stopped reading and writing, and focused only on solving practical problems. Her husband occasionally helped with some housework but was mostly absent. Under the influence of French feminist writers and movements, she was a proponent of egalitarian love and desired a spiritual bond between husband and wife and to support each other. But in reality, apart from talking about parents and children, she and her husband had almost nothing in common to talk about. Their life was very boring. Everything fell on her shoulders. If Annie was absent for just one day, the whole family simply would not be able to function normally. Life continued like that for more than 10 years. In those busy moments, Annie sometimes felt her existence was very unreal. It is unimaginable that the 20-year-old Annie, who was full of enthusiasm and made a vow to publish a novel by the age of 25 or die, would now have her pen tucked into a corner, not even looking good. No care for her hair, spread back, loose dress, a smile still hanging on her lips, but she always looked tired. At the age of 40, she felt like she had drifted away from her true self a lot. In one family trip to Spain, sitting on the terrace of a cafe, Annie particularly observed the women from 35 to 50 years old. She suddenly wondered who they were. Were they once radiant young women, but now why did they become like this? Annie suddenly felt a sense of crisis coming over her. She seemed to realize the truth that she only has one life, and if she continues to live like this, when she gets old, she will still be just a soulless person, a tired, bored machine who doesn't care about anything. So, in the end, she decided to definitely end this wrong marriage and live alone with 2 sons. You will see that sometimes timely stopping at the right time, is the highest discipline. The West has a saying, "Don't cry over spilled milk." But why can't many people resist this and live their whole lives crying over spilled milk? In economics, there is a term called sunk costs. Sunk costs refer to expenses that have been paid and cannot be recovered. Likewise, many people are often reluctant because they have already paid a lot of sunk costs and cannot get their lives back. They dare to stop and buy a movie ticket to watch, sit for half an hour and realize it's a bad movie but still have to watch it to the end because they already spent money on the ticket, then go to a tourist destination, feeling disappointed and tired because of the crowded crowds. Everything is not like the advertised image, but you still have to try to go through it all because you have come here. And being with someone for many years, even though you know that person has all kinds of bad habits, gambling, alcoholism, cheating, betrayal, and does not respect you, but because you have invested too much money, time, and emotions, you still continue to do a job that drains your energy and spirit every day because you have become a long-term employee and don't want to pass on the work. When sunk costs arise, instinctively, people will grit their teeth and continue. This thinking has been ingrained in the subconscious of many of us. We are always afraid of losing, and we think we can gain more when we are tempted. To stop at the right time, Yakov once said that 90% of the pain in life comes from not knowing how to stop mistakes in time. Everyone will make mistakes, go astray, see many people do wrong. Making mistakes is not scary, what is scary is knowing you are wrong, but not having the courage to accept the loss and give yourself a chance to start over. As writer Van Lam Gu Tang once said, letting go wisely is better than blind persistence. Sometimes stopping is to let you go further. This is a kind of progress and can also be said to be a spectacular victory. If your body and mind are too tired now, then the only way is to allow yourself to stop to look inside, to have the courage to make a new page for yourself. Let go of the bad things in the past, avoid toxic people, and end unworthy persistence. The ultimate wisdom of man is always to leave room for yourself to retreat and stop in time. When you pass middle age, don't hesitate to expand the boundaries of your life. The future is the sum total of your efforts to change, but in the last years of her life, Annie threw everything away, no longer limited herself to the role of a wife or a mother. She lived as herself. She moved away, sold her old furniture, said goodbye to the past and began to enjoy life. Her whole attitude towards raising her children also changed. She no longer worried about every detail of the housework and did not pay attention to her children's every move. Instead, she encouraged them to live independently, giving up worrying about age and status, no longer paying attention to other people's eyes and comments. When her children got married and lived on their own, she became more and more comfortable in the quiet of living alone. Like a free and easy young girl, she is busy reading books all day long, constantly enriching her inner self. Even though she is very old, her face is clearly marked by the traces of time, but she is still full of energy. She never stops reading and writing, with breakthroughs in writing. Finally, at the age of 82, she was honored with the most prestigious award in the field of literature, the Nobel Prize. Her story is not only a source of strong encouragement but also a source of endless inspiration for many people. It was thanks to escaping the chains of the world that she gained strong willpower and experienced a wonderful old age. Life seems very long, but the time you can live for yourself is very short. The truth is that many people are living their whole lives for others. When they are young, they are living for their parents. When they are young, they are pursuing success to gain the recognition of others. When getting married, they live for their spouse and children. When old, their spiritual life is put all to their children and grandchildren. When reaching the end of life, looking back they think they have done a lot of things, but in fact they are just repeating a pattern in a narrow space. Only when a person no longer defines himself "Who am I? Who was I? Who must I become?" and is not limited by roles and titles, can they develop their full potential and open up the boundaries of their life. In her later years, Annie found the true purpose of life is to allow yourself to do the things you love with your human values. A person who always knows how to enrich their inner self and maintain a calm mind will encounter countless beautiful things as well as surprises on this life journey. Thank you for listening. If you find this video useful, please share it with those who need it. Don't forget to give me a like, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to watch the latest videos every week. Once again, thank you, and see you in the next videos.